So, if you were like me, you might have had a little bit of trouble starting Marvel Mystic Mayhem as a beginner. Luckily for you, I've created a brief beginner's guide about how to play Marvel Mystic Mayhem and understand its mechanics. Just a PSA, this footage is from the beta. The game is not fully out yet, so some things are subject to change. Most of these things that I'm covering are just going to be how the basic systems work and how the overall mechanics operate. So without further ado, let's hop in. So first off we have is the Dreamscape. The Dreamscape is filled with a bunch of stories, challenges, and events that you can do all at your own pace. When you first start off the game, you're going to be prompted to do the story mode. The story mode at first covers Scarlet Witch's story, which I'm not going to get into any spoilers here because there are some people who still weren't able to play the game, so I don't want to spoil everything for them. But the story is basically a breaking ground of how to navigate your characters throughout certain missions and understanding the fundamentals of how to play the game. The story is filled to the brim with a bunch of great things. It has cutscenes, comic-like panels that showcase the story, voice acting, background music, everything you basically want in the story, it basically has. It's really intuitive, and the devs really did put something fantastic together for this story. Like many other games, there are some missions that require you to swap out different characters from your beloved characters, so just be aware that you won't be able to always use the characters that you love. You might have to swap one out every now and then. Next up we have our challenges. We have Battle Bonanza, Treasure Hunt, Rune Raid, and Fabled Finds. Battle Bonanza is basically the resources you need to level up your characters and or certain items you need to progress in the game. So leveling up your artifacts, your highlights, again your characters, those are the things that you mainly need to level things up. For Treasure Hunt, those materials are used for ascending your characters. Rune Raid, it is for increasing your skills for your characters. And lastly, for Fabled Finds, it is for gathering artifacts. I love Fabled Finds the most. You don't really get access to artifacts as quickly as you want because they're a little high level at the time of the beta. They might lower it depending on the time the game comes out. But at the time of the beta anyway, it honestly wasn't too bad from when I played it. It was honestly a fun time. Just the drop rate was kind of a little controversial for some people. For me, it was iffy. I got most of the artifacts. I didn't get 2, but I got most of them, so like I couldn't really complain. But honestly, it's not a bad time doing Fabled Finds. Next up we have is Memento. Memento is a puzzle-like story, if that makes sense. So essentially, it covers over the main campaign story, right? But mainly the pages of it. It doesn't really cover like the whole cinematics, but you move across the board in a tile-like motion, and you have to do it in a certain amount of requirements. So it might be move to the end of the boss under 7 rounds, or defeat the boss within a certain amount of seconds, something like that. Basically, you have these requirements and you need to do them under a certain threshold in order to get the maximum completion. And from this stage, you're able to get things like your dream gems and some experience points to level up your account. Next up we have is Nightfall. Nightfall is the boss challenge that is in the game. And I will say, it's not bad actually, it's actually pretty fun. What you do need to know about this though is that there are a certain amount of difficulties within the boss. So you might have easy all the way up to like, I'm pretty sure it's nightmare, right? And that's like level 50 or higher maybe. And it's honestly pretty challenging, so you really have to compose a team of different variations to really understand how the boss works and like try to get ahead in the best score that is able to be achieved. But if you do complete the boss within a certain amount of time and get a certain high score, you're actually able to get a certain amount of rewards from completing that. You can get dream gems, stuff to awaken your characters. It's honestly so like refreshing to have, and honestly it's just truly fantastic. And lastly, for the Dreamscape, we have Game of Khonshu. This game mode is actually particularly for like the later half of the game. Like you don't get this until like way beyond. But it honestly is a fun a little PvP kind of esque mode where essentially you are able to face off against people. I don't know if it's real time, but you're able to use relics to put on your characters that increase their overall hero level. Within the game mode, I have to add, you can increase them by however point that it offers, or it multiplies them depending on the relic that you get. And you do get a certain amount of characters to use. The max is 5, and they give you a certain amount of characters to use too, so it's not like just your own. And you basically need to get 8 wins overall within the rounds essentially, and then you win the game. But the problem is, it is kind of challenging because some people, they do know how to use the relics to their advantage, and they know how to like really work around it. But honestly, it is a fun game mode, and it has some really fantastic rewards too. You get artifacts, experience points, credits, everything like that. Honestly, I think it's one of the more fun game modes, but it just can seem a little overwhelming at first, but once you get a hang of it, it's truly a fun time. Next up we have is Mystic Clash. Mystic Clash is the official kind of PvP in this game. However, it doesn't work like your typical PvP throughout the entire PvP match. There are 6 fights you have to do altogether. Ideally, you want to win 6 in a row. There's a chance you might win 6 in a row, but there's a chance that you might not, and that's totally okay. But whether you win or lose, you're actually able to upgrade the characters that are provided to you. So let's say you win a fight, they will ask you, do you want to add a star to your ranged characters or to your mystic characters, something like that? And they will give you a star, but it is randomized. It won't always be the character that you want unless it's obvious that you only have like one ranged character or one mystic character, something like that, right? And the goal is to beat the opponent. Again, I'm not sure if it's real-time PvP. It might just be it might be a bot, but like someone's actual real account, or it might actually be real-time. I'm not 100% sure. I do think it's real-time though, because I feel like it is, but I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like it is. But honestly, it is a fun game mode. The rewards aren't bad either. You do get an arena frame if you win, and you also get, of course, dream gems too. You get the keys. You get a good amount of things if you go on a winning streak. Next up we have is the summon. So as of the beta, the summon consists of 2 summoning types. We have summons for characters and summons for highlights. In my personal opinion, what you want to do is probably focus on your characters first. Not to say highlights are bad, they're actually really good. I already made a highlight video of the ones that I find that are best in the game. All of them are essentially good, but there are ones that are leaks better. But without characters, your highlights are essentially useless. So if I say focus on your characters first. But at the time of the beta, summons cost 750 dream gems or 5 of the keys. In my opinion, save up those keys for when you need it. And your dream gems too, because you never know when a character that you love will rotate in the game or rotate in the banner and you just want to pull them, right? So I say save them up, of course. This game does have a pity, and I actually do like the pity, to be honest. The pity works in my opinion. However, you might not always get the character that you want. I think what they should do maybe is add a targeted pity, like how some games have, where like if you fill up all of your pity, the increased rate of the character you want is higher, right? You can select which one you want, because you can select either a character or a highlight to get off your pity. You get the character for free, I guess it's for free essentially, but you don't get the character or highlight that you want. It's randomized, right? So I think it would be cool for them to have that. But yeah, essentially, summons is actually probably one of the better features. There is some controversy around it, because the way summons were as of the beta wasn't always the case when the alpha of the game was out. It was vastly different. So it's very iffy, but honestly, it grew on me. So like, I don't think it's much to really worry about. The shop is where you can get a wide variety of things. You can get shadow keys, you can get materials for leveling up your characters, credits, formulas, you name it. Basically anything you want basically is almost in the store. I don't know about artifacts and highlights, but usually it's mostly anything that you want is basically in this store. So now moving on to the moment you've all been waiting for, that is the characters and the character menu. This game's roster is filled. There's so much characters already, and this game's not even like out yet. Like, that's how like extensive this game is. But this game is divided up into classes. So we have ranged, controller, defender, and fighter. Those are all the classes in the game. There are types of characters, like, your mystic, your mutant DNA, things like that, but they don't inherently matter, in my opinion anyway. They mainly focus around like class types, like I mentioned earlier. At the time of the beta as well, they do give you some opportunities to use characters that you haven't been able to pull in the summons. So for instance, I wasn't able to pull Spider-Man for a long while, so I was able to use him as a trial character. You aren't able to level them up past a certain levels. However, they do have a threshold of leveling they can get to. I'm pretty sure at first it was level 30, but they changed it in the beta. They changed it to, I think, level 60. I could be mistaken, but I know they increased the leveling. But yeah, you can have these trial characters and you can use them, equip them, put whatever on them. They're basically, you can use these characters however you want to. The only caveat is that you can't get them past a certain level threshold after you hit the level threshold. So that is something to take note about. The character equips, though, they are divided into 4 sections. We have skill, artifact, highlight, and soul saga. Skills are pretty self-explanatory. It is where you're able to upgrade your character skills that you're able to use in battle, or your passes or things like that. The artifacts section is where you can equip the artifacts that you gain from fabled finds or other missions. For highlight, it's basically the same thing. And lastly, Soul Saga. Soul Saga is probably one of the things that I do love most about this game. It's basically when you get a dupe of the character that you have. Once you get enough dupes, you're able to put those dupes into your character, into a specific side that you want to mainly focus on. Moving on, this is for anyone who kind of wants to play around with cameras, or like for content creators like myself. You're actually able to kind of change your character, not portrait, but the way your character is in the character menu slash the home screen. In the video, you do see me click on Scarlet Witch, and you can see me move the camera around her. If you can actually move your phone around, or your tablet, whatever you're using, and the screen will actually move with you, and it'll like adjust the area of where your character is. And I do think that's pretty cool. I wish you could like lock it, because that would be kind of interesting. But like, it's fine. But like, you can essentially check out the way the character is modeled, and like how the character looks and what their costume is fully. You could zoom in, zoom out, however you want to. But again, this is mainly for the people who like, again, want to create content, or do create content already, or just like camera angles or stuff like that, or just want to observe how the characters are designed. Next up we have is the Alliance. As of the beta, the Alliance wasn't really made for a lot. There were certain missions you could do to gain a certain amount of rewards, and the rewards are actually like chef's kiss. They were perfection. Like, you get artifacts, you just get a lot of good stuff when you complete all the rewards at the end of the week. But the Alliance consists of 50 members. Again, as of the beta, you can talk to your Alliance members too. There's a chat available as well. There's an Alliance shop where you can get materials of your choice, and there's also an Alliance ranking as well. As you can see, for me, I'm 5th place. I could be higher, but like, I don't really need to be, in my opinion. I think I'm fine at 5th place. Again, I would love to be higher, but I think I don't really need to. But I mean, it is an honor regardless. With that being said, I'm gonna end it right here. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this brief guide towards Marvel Mystic Mayhem. Again, there's only so much I can explain, because again, this game isn't out. This was just beta footage. I'm just mainly explaining how this game works. I can't wait for this game to come out, and I'm sure you guys can't wait as well. With that being said, my name is LC. Have an amazing day. God bless, and I will catch you all later.